What is going on, beautiful people? I hope you are all having a wonderful day. Today we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of Wheat Ridge, Colorado. And hey, if this is your first time on the channel and you're looking to learn a little bit more about living in Denver or some of the surrounding suburbs, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, hit the bell icon for notifications. That way you can be the first to know when I come out with a new video and learn more about the Denver area. If you don't already know, my name is Michael and I get people reaching out all the time looking to make a move to Colorado or just have questions about the Denver area. So whether you're moving in 10 days, 20 days, 2 months, whatever it may be, feel free to shoot me a text, give me a call, email. That way I can help you in whatever way I can, and I'd be more than happy to help you make a smooth move to Denver. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. So if you aren't familiar with Wheat Ridge, Colorado, it's kind of on the northwest side of Denver. It's actually just west of Denver. It's pretty much the closest city to Denver. It's pretty much the neighbor of Denver right there, and it only has about a population of about 33,000 people, so it's relatively small in comparison to some of the other suburbs around. But enough with that, let's get right to the pros. All right, the first one, it's really close to Denver. So if you are planning on commuting or you're gonna be working downtown in Denver, then this would be a great spot to just hunker down, find a place, especially if you're just settling, you just got a job in Denver, you're looking to scope out the area, you just need a place to rent for 6 to 12 months while you're kind of getting a feel for Denver. This would be a great place for it because you're not gonna be commuting a whole lot and you're gonna have a lot more time to explore around if you're not commuting so much for a job. This is also great because if you're also planning on going to a lot of sporting events or there's a lot of downtown events that you're planning on going to, you're gonna be really active, then not far. So you're gonna have an easy time motivating yourself to get out the door and go do something if it's only 10, 15 minutes away compared to a 45-minute drive if you're living somewhere quite far outside of downtown Denver. Another great thing about Wheat Ridge is that it is relatively affordable to live there. The median single-family home is about $675,000. So it's just a hair above Denver and Lakewood, which you're kind of sandwiched in between. But it's not too bad. You have a little bit more space. It's a little bit different feel than the city. So you're gonna have a little bit more space, not gonna be as busy as downtown would be or Lakewood's gonna be. So it's just one of those things that it's a small increase. It's only about $30,000 above the other two places in terms of median home value, but it gets a lot less busy in Wheat Ridge. The next thing I'll talk about is just the accessibility to restaurants and shops in Wheat Ridge. So you're not gonna have to go far if you're looking for a bite to eat. You don't have to go and spend 30 minutes looking for a place. You just type in food to your phone and 30 places are gonna pop up. You're gonna have a long time of trying new places when you're there just because there's so many options. You're not gonna have to go far and it's just really accessible. Another great thing about Wheat Ridge is you're very close to a lot of the main roads. So if you are trying to get around Denver, you're commuting, maybe you're going all the way down to Denver Tech Center, or you're trying to go out west, maybe towards the mountains, you're not gonna have a very long drive because you can just hop on some of the main roads, get to where you're going. You're not gonna have to kind of zigzag through the whole place to get there. So it's gonna be relatively accessible to get there for the most part. And the last thing I'll mention about Wheat Ridge is you're close to the mountains. So for the most part, you're gonna have really nice views pretty much all over the place. And if you are planning on going to the mountains for hiking, fishing, biking, maybe in the winter, skiing, snowboarding, tubing, whatever that might be, you're gonna have easy time getting to the mountains rather than being on the very east side of Denver where it's gonna take you an extra 30, 45 minutes. So, if you wake up on the weekend and you're just like, oh, I wanna go to the mountains, and then you plug it in, it's like hour 45, you're like, oh, maybe not. But if you Wheat Ridge, 45, 50 minutes, it's a lot easier to get yourself out of bed, go do something fun if it's not as far of a drive. And a large majority of people that are moving to Denver, one of the things they're always like, once I get to Denver, I'm gonna be going up to the mountains all the time. We're gonna be doing that. And then sometimes people move here and they're so far away from the mountains that they're just like, nah, I don't have time for it or any of that stuff. So if you are living in Wheat Ridge, you're probably gonna be a little bit more motivated to go do these things. And once you start doing them, you get very easily hooked. All right, now let's get into the cons. All right, the first thing, compared to a lot of other places throughout Denver, traffic's just gonna be a little bit more congested, especially during peak times, mainly because you're a little bit more central to the Denver area. Now, Wheat Ridge specifically is a little bit more spread out than some of the surrounding areas like Lakewood, but for the most part, you're still gonna have a lot of traffic during those peak times, especially if you're comparing it to some of the outer edges of the Denver area. So if you're looking to get around, you might wanna try and avoid those times unless you're going to work. That way you can kind of just avoid that and not have to worry about the headaches that go along with traffic. You also want to avoid game days where, Nuggets are playing, Broncos are playing, whoever's playing that day. if you don't have to be somewhere and you just, you have flexibility with leaving somewhere, the roads are gonna be a lot busier when those games are going on, before and after, just because everyone's going to and from the game. So just try and avoid those times if you can, you'll be a lot better off. The next thing I'll mention is, because you're more centrally located, there's just gonna be a little bit more noise, more pollution, a lot more businesses in the area. So it's just gonna be a little bit busier and just more of a city feeling. Now, Wheat Ridge specifically isn't so bad itself, but everything around you is gonna be like that. So just something you're gonna have to deal with within the city. And there's a lot of places around that also have the same problems. But I imagine if you are looking to move to Denver, you're kind of aware of these things that come with the city living. And for the most part, compared to other major cities like Los Angeles, New York City, we do a lot better with that stuff. We have the mountains right there. So overall, our air is still a little bit better than the majority of larger cities. And the last thing I'll mention about Wheat Ridge, there's not a whole lot of local parks in there. There's a few in there, but they're not very big. You might have to travel a little bit outside of Wheat Ridge to get to somewhere that has a nice big open park for you. A couple nearby that are highly recommended: Crown Hill Park and Sloan's Lake Park. I personally like Sloan's Lake Park the best. They have a nice running track around it. You can go boating in the summer. They have a lot of festivals, a lot of activities that the community of Edgewater throws on. So if you're looking to get somewhere, I'd probably head down there. It's not too far, probably 15-20 minute drive from Wheat Ridge, probably a little bit less. I guess it just depends on the traffic. But if you're looking for somewhere to, go spend an afternoon at, Sloan's Lake Park's probably your best bet. And you get there, you'll probably just have to Google parks around, but there's nothing too great in Wheat Ridge. So, that's just one thing you might have to deal with living in Wheat Ridge. So with all that being said, there's definitely positives and negatives to living in Wheat Ridge. I'd say, it's a fairly neutral area. You have a lot of perks of living in the city, real close. You don't have to commute very far if you're looking to be downtown, but at the same time, it still has some of the negative aspects of living in a city. So if you're trying to avoid some of the big city attributes, then maybe look a little bit outside of the Denver area, maybe towards East Aurora, just kind of on the outskirts of the Denver area. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. Maybe you learned a little bit about Wheat Ridge if you're considering of making the move to Denver and you're just kind of scoping out a few areas. But if you did like the video or you found something helpful, I'd appreciate you give me a like down below. Oh, and don't forget, if you are planning on moving here or just scoping out the area, just want to get a feel, maybe you have questions that I didn't answer in this video, my contact information is below, so feel free to call, email, text, whatever you do, and I'd be more than happy to help you in whatever way I can. But until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video.